Hey guys, Chris McCarthy here, the jump rope trainer. What I want to discuss today is when doing double unders, your proper foot position, your proper stance, and the proper way to jump. So what you're looking for is you want to make sure that your feet are pretty much very close together, just a few inches apart when you're jumping, and you want to maintain that you are jumping on the balls of your feet and really kind of using your toes and the balls of your feet and your ankles to create a spring, so you're going to be jumping straight up and down. So what I mean by that is when you get going on these double unders, you'll see that I'm jumping pretty much straight up and down. My legs aren't really bending at the knees. My knees are just bent just a little bit to absorb some of the shock, but I'm not kicking my heels up behind me. I'm not bringing my knees up really high, and I'm also not piking my feet forward. I'm just maintaining a nice vertical movement, and I'm using the balls of my feet, my toes, my ankles as essentially a spring just to get myself going straight up and down. Now you'll also see that I'm not jumping very high off the ground, just a few inches. You only need to jump off the ground just enough to get that rope to go underneath twice, so just a little bit. You're really going to rely on the rotation and the speed of that rope to travel around your body twice, as opposed to trying to jump high enough to get that rope to clear twice underneath you. So I see a lot of people that will feel as though they need to jump higher to get that rope to go underneath them, when really all you need to do is maintain the speed of that rope and increase the speed of that rope enough just so it makes those two rotations. So you don't have to bring your knees up really high, you don't have to kick them out behind you, and you don't need to pike your feet in front of you as well. You want to maintain that nice vertical position on your body and just really use your feet and the balls of your feet and maintain on those to get that spring going up and down. Now, another thing I see a lot of people doing is they'll start to bring their toes up in the jump. Now, that could be because you're afraid that the rope is going to hit your toes, so you're trying to clear yourself, but you want to make sure that you are maintaining a slightly downward pointing of your toes when you're doing your bounds, and you want it to be consistent. So you'll see that my feet, my toes, are constantly pointing in a little bit of a downward position. So that maintains when I'm landing each time, I'm getting on my balls with my feet, and then can bring those heels down, and then I get to spring back up. And I see a lot of people also, when they put their toes up, what they're essentially doing then is they're landing almost back on their heels, and then they ask me, how come I'm moving backwards while I'm doing double unders? And it's basically because by raising your toes up, you're starting to put your weight backwards, and as you're landing, then you're going to start to hop backwards as well. So just make sure your feet are pretty close together, just a few inches apart. Make sure as you're jumping that your toes maintain a little bit of a downward position on there, and you're really just bending your knees slightly enough just to take that impact away. Another thing you want to look for when you're doing your double unders and you're jumping is with single unders, you have a certain speed here. But with double unders, a lot of people will tend to try to speed up that rope, but then maintain the same speed of the jump, and you'll catch your toes. You actually have to slow your jump down a little bit as you start to do those double unders. So it's really a slower jump with the double unders. See, I'm jumping slower, I'm getting a little bit more height in there than I would if I was just doing my singles. See, I'm slowing down the actual jump, but I'm speeding up the rope. So just to recap, make sure your feet are close together. Make sure you're keeping your toes in a little bit of a downward position on there. Keeping your legs bent just enough to absorb some of that shock on there. Make sure you're not picking your toes up. Make sure you're also not bending your knees, either up in front of you, or bending your knees and kicking your heels behind you, and making sure you're not piking your feet forward or piking your whole body to try to clear that rope. It just should be a nice vertical up-down on the balls of your feet, springing motion, and rely on the speed of the jump rope rotating to get that to go underneath your feet twice. So that's basically your foot position, your stance, and the proper way to jump or bound when doing double unders. If you have any questions, be sure to hit me up on the website or check me out on Facebook.